Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and I'd like to welcome you to the Practical Stoic Podcast, where I give you practical Stoic advice for modern times. If you'd like to learn more about Stoicism, or if you want some added inspiration in your day, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com. If you're interested in transforming your life with Stoic principles, then I also offer one-on-one coaching. To book your first free session, just head to risetothegoodlife.com/coaching and follow the links. But for now, enjoy this episode. Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast. My wife and I have somewhat of a weekly tradition of going to my parents' home for the Sunday night roast dinner. You know, it's a great opportunity to get together with the family, to eat and talk and play games. And what makes it even better is the fact that we all get to see my 2-year-old niece, who is actually the inspiration behind this episode. See, we were all sitting at the table about a week ago, having our dinner, and I noticed that my niece was doing something very interesting. She had a couple of toys to play with while she was eating dinner, and I believe there were some plastic horses, her favorites. And so while she was eating and playing with her horses, she noticed that in my hand was a purple lacrosse ball. You know, the ones that you use to roll on your back and loosen your muscles. So I was bouncing this ball and she decided that even though she had her favorite horses there, whatever I was playing with looked even more fun. So she asked for the ball and I rolled it to her, after she said please, of course. But luckily for me, I wasn't giving up much because on the ground was another lacrosse ball, a red one this time. And so I started bouncing that one, and when she saw that, she decided that the horses and the purple ball didn't appeal to her anymore. She wanted the red one. And so she moaned a little and groaned until she finally said please, and I believe we did a trade where I got the purple and I gave her the red. And this went on a couple more times. You know, each time I would find a new thing to bounce and she would see it and immediately want it. She certainly loved the toys that she had, but whatever I was playing with looked much better to her. And, you know, this was extremely interesting to me. It seemed like if she had every toy in the world except for one, but then she saw someone playing with that one that she didn't have, she would want to play with that one. And then I really got thinking, is that really any different to how we behave as grown-ups? I mean, what she was demonstrating was just how alluring something can be if it's something that you don't have. And that's something that we see so often in modern society. You know, it's like the classic example of the neighbor buying a 70-inch television, and then you start walking by the TV section at the shopping center to check out the prices to see if you can afford it. Because the idea of someone close to you having something that you don't is simply unbearable. And isn't this the ultimate trap of the times that we're living in? You know, we're taught that the ideal picture of success is to go to school, get a good education, get a safe job, buy a nice house on a 30-year loan, buy 2 nice cars, and buy nice things with all that money you're making from your safe job. And if you can't afford nice things, then you can always get a credit card. And you know, if you follow this path, then it can be extremely easy to fall into the consumerism vortex that gets us thinking that what we have isn't enough, and that what others have is better. We become like that child who has enough toys to play with, but cannot stand the sight of someone playing with the toy that she doesn't have. When I was writing this episode, I was reminded of something that Ryan Holiday said. It was something along the lines of, there are 2 ways to get rich. You can make more money to buy more things, or you can learn to want less things. And the Stoics lean more on the latter side of this. And when I heard Ryan say that, it was really a confirmation to me that Stoicism is the antidote to so many of the flawed behaviors in modern society that we see today. Society says that we should have more things, while Stoicism says that what we have is enough. Society says that you deserve to have everything that your neighbors have, while Stoicism says that those things won't bring you lasting happiness. Society says that you should work longer and harder so that you can afford that new watch, while Stoicism says that how you spend your time is far more important than how you spend your money. Society says that happiness is a new car, while Stoicism says that happiness comes from within. Seneca said that, quote, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." End quote. And when you read this, it's important to recognize that Seneca is not saying that we shouldn't strive for a better life. But what he's saying is that if you are a truly wise person, you will be happy wherever you are, no matter what you have, because externals cannot bring true happiness. It's essentially the difference between wanting nice things and needing nice things. I wanted to share some more great advice from Seneca regarding how we should view our lot in life and the things that we have. He said, quote, "Continually remind yourself of the many things you have achieved. When you look at all the people in front of you, think of all the ones behind you. If you want to feel appreciative where the gods and your life are concerned, just think of how many people you've outdone. Why be concerned with others, come to that, when you've outdone your own self?" End quote. So there are some amazing takeaways from this passage. First, he says that we should always remind ourselves of the amazing things that we have achieved. This is such a helpful tool to use in life, and it's something that I've challenged all of my clients to do on a regular basis, and I'll offer you a similar challenge. Over the next week, I want you to write down at least 3 things that you're grateful for every single day. As you look for things to be grateful for, you'll realize that there is no shortage. You're an incredibly lucky person and you have many things to be happy about. But it all starts with making the decision to focus on those things. To focus on what you have as opposed to what you don't have. And the next important thing that Seneca said in that passage was that instead of looking at who's in front of you, you should look at who's behind you. And at first this can kind of seem like a depressing thought, to look at struggling people to make yourself feel better about your own life. But I would interpret that message to mean that we should cultivate within ourselves a strong perspective of what it means to truly be struggling. Look at those who have less than you. Look at the struggles of people throughout history. Look at the horrible things that have happened and are still happening in the world today. And when you look at all these things, you'll realize that what you have is more than enough to be truly happy and fulfilled in this moment. Yes, you may be struggling with something, and yes, what you're going through is very real. But if you'll take the time to develop a good perspective of what others have gone through and are still going through, then you'll be empowered to push forward because you'll know that you can withstand what you're struggling with, at least because you know that others have done that before you. Not only that, but you'll be grateful for the life that you have instead of being saddened by what you don't have. And the last part of that passage that I want to point out is where he asks why we would be concerned with others when we have outdone our own selves. And this really goes back to the Stoic ideal that the only person you have to be better than is yourself. You should be concerned only with your own performance. Are you better educated than you were last year? Are you healthier than you were a month ago? Are you wiser than you were in your youth? Are you forming better habits than the ones that you had yesterday? It's all about improving yourself. It's about focusing on what you have and how you're living your life, as opposed to what others have and how they're living theirs. And I wanted to share one more quote from Seneca that actually is the remaining part of the previous passage. And I want you to come back and listen to this quote every time you think that there's something new or shiny that you need in order to be happy. Every time you want a new car or a shiny watch or those new shoes that are pretty but that will also go far beyond your budget, listen to this. He says, quote, "Say goodbye at last to those deceptive prizes more precious to those who hope for them than to those who have won them. If there was anything substantial in them, they would sooner or later bring a sense of fullness. As it is, they simply aggravate the thirst of those who swallow them." End quote. Have you ever been so excited to buy something new, and then a week after buying it, you don't even care about it anymore? Of course you have. We all have done this. We get so dead set on buying this new car or wallpaper or television or whatever it is, and then within just a few weeks or days of this purchase, the buyer's remorse sets in. Now the money is gone, and we realize that what we bought is not only unnecessary, but it also doesn't make us feel the way that the advertisement said it would make us feel. If you've ever felt like this, and I know that you have, then you'll know what Seneca is talking about here. This mindset of wanting what others have and wanting nicer, bigger things is only a deception. It's a lie. It leads you on a path to an even bigger appetite and an even more ungrateful heart. Dissatisfaction is its destination, and the only way to avoid this is to get onto a different path. And the path that you want to be on is the one that leads to gratitude and contentedness and inner joy unhindered by externals. Take the advice from the Stoics and learn to love what you have. Yes, you can strive for a greater life, but don't forget to pause and enjoy the journey. The true Stoic is happy wherever he is, no matter what he has or who he is with. He recognizes that only he is responsible for his happiness. To look for something external for happiness would be a mistake. True fulfillment comes not from having what others have or from buying newer and nicer things. It comes from making yourself a better person every single day. It comes when you can honestly say, I am grateful for where I am, right here, right now. It might not be perfect, but it's enough. I'll talk to you next time, but until then, I hope that this episode has helped you on your rise to the good life. Ciao. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I hope that you've gotten a lot of value out of it, and I hope that it helps you to live a better life. If you have enjoyed the podcast, then don't forget to subscribe so that you'll be the first to know when there are new episodes. If you really love the podcast, then I would appreciate a positive review, whether that's on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever else you listen. Don't forget that if you're interested in one-on-one Stoic coaching, then you can head to risetothegoodlife.com/coaching to book your first free session today.